Alright guys, today we're going to paint this Nissan 300ZX I've been working on. We did a little modification to this. We got took about 3 inches out of the wheel arch here. This is got a wide body kit. I'm not sure on which brand it is. It's one of 3 made. I know that from what the owner told me. But so been working on this car for a while. There was some pretty extensive rocker damage on the big dents in the rockers, and the pinch weld was pretty messed up, but as you can see we got that looking pretty good now. Somebody had jacked it up many times on the pinch weld, but we did a lot of rust repair on this too, mostly in the back here. There was these areas in here were pretty rotten. All this was rotted out. A little bit on the quarters and that we had fixed, but today we're going to be spraying this here car with kind of I'll say the cheaper version of what a lot of people do. We're not spraying PPG, you know, Deltron 8152. We're not using super expensive materials on this car. This is a budget-minded job. So what we're going to do is spray Omni MP172 dark gray epoxy as a sealer, and we'll go over more of this, but we're going to use that as a sealer. And then we're going to use the Omni, I think it's Omni Plus MBP, I believe it is. We're going to use that base, and then we're going to use the Smart 4.2 VOC Euro Clear on this project. So what you can see, I've got a somewhat cross draft booth type deal set up here. So on the other side of this wall, I've got a heater running. It's about 90 degrees over there. I've got a fan blowing that hot air in through these filters, and then we've got this little exhaust fan over here drawing it back out. So it's somewhat of a cross draft setup, you could say. So a lot of guys that are spraying at home, their air quality might not be the best. You might be getting a lot of crap coming out of your air lines, water and particulates. So the guys at the Art Circus, Rob Churchill, he hooked me up with Ken at Fisheye Filter. It's the first time I've ever used this, so we're gonna see how they work. I'll give you my 2 cents on these, but it looks like a pretty impressive idea, I'll say. And you know, this filter, instead of when it gets full of crap, instead of just spitting it back out into your airline, it'll actually stop. It completely will plug, and it will not allow any more air through if it's completely saturated or contaminated. So we'll see how this works. So today we're going to be using this Iwata LS400 here. It's a pretty good all-around gun for solid colors, clear, sealer. It's a 1.3, good all-around gun. And like I say, Omni MP172 black epoxy as a sealer. Then we're going to go to the Omni Plus black base. And the Smart Euro 4.2 VOC clear. We're going to be using 885 probably today as a reducer. It's not hot enough for 895. And then we got, for wipes, we're using the Smart Premium SMT 1019 wipes, along with the newer style PPS cups. So for our first wipe on this car, what I like to use, I like to start with a water-based wipe. I've been using the Spies Permabrid water cleaner quite a bit, but at home I typically like to just use water alcohol mixture. This is going to clean some things that your wax and grease remover won't clean off. Like, this is going to clean the dust out of the microparticles out of the scratches better. The water-based type contaminants, the water alcohol mixture is going to clean that a lot better than the wax and grease, where the wax and grease will clean the you know, the oil contaminants, fingerprints, hand oils, things like that off a lot better than this will. So what I do is just wet the panel down with some water, alcohol mixture, and then just wipe it as you would any other thing. Wipe it till it's clean, Wipe it till it's dry, basically. I mean, as you can see, it's picking up plenty of dirt. I've blown this car off, give it a pre-clean, I'll say, before we mast, and this is picking up plenty of stuff, and it's gonna just be one more thing that's gonna contribute to a nice clean paint job. So now that we've wiped with water, now what I got in this bottle is the Smart SMT 300 wax and grease remover, and same process. I'm just gonna wet these panels down and wipe them till they're dry. So we've got the car all wiped down. We've wiped it with our water alcohol mixture and also with our Smart wax and grease remover. Now I'm gonna tack this car off before we start spraying at it. And important to unravel the tack rag all the way, and then you just let it fall in your hand and just give everything a light tack before you spray. I like to tack off the areas also that are going to be sprayed at. You know, this plastic. If you got any paper, it's always a good idea to tack around that. But yeah, just give the whole car a good tack, and then we're going to come in here and spray our epoxy sealer. So a couple of advantages to using this epoxy as a sealer is epoxy, it's a DTM. If you have any bare metal spots, you don't have to use etch. If you do use etch and then use epoxy, you will probably have adhesion problems. So in this, using this epoxy as a sealer, it's also cheaper than sealer in most cases. And you have a 7-day recoat window. You do not have a lift window. After 30 minutes, I can go in there, spray base on this. I could wait till tomorrow, go in there, spray base on this without scuffing, without sanding. I could wait 3 days, up to 7 days, they say. Any longer than overnight, I don't trust it. I like to scuff it. But so now I got my epoxy mixed up. Everything's wiped down. Everything's tacked. We're gonna go ahead and start spraying. So now we've got our epoxy on. We're gonna go, I got the black base in the gun right here. We're gonna start spraying some color. So now that we've got some color on everything, we're going to now shut the lights off. And we're gonna use this little flashlight, go around, sun gun. At home I use a flashlight, at work in the booth I use a sun gun. Black is really quite easy to see. There's no, there's no metallic orientation and that to worry about where you would really need a sun gun. But so right now I'm gonna shut the lights off, and I'll show you a little bit of what that's gonna do as far as showing us areas that we might have missed with color. So when I shut the light off, I come in, it's much more obvious the areas that don't have color. As you can see, this side of this bolt, the inside of this hinge, there's areas that don't have color. So I'm gonna hook up some air and we're gonna look this thing over real good. So in these cups I've got the Smart 4.2 VOC Euro Clear. This is a 2-to-1 clear. Most Euro Clears are. It's 2-to-1. I do like to reduce it about 10% with DT885 in my current conditions. It's about 70 degrees in here. So 15-degree rule tells us if it's 70 degrees with airflow, which we have, you use an 85-degree reducer. Anytime you have airflow in the equation, which you always should, you want to add 15 degrees to your reducer choice. So if it's 80 degrees in here, you don't use 885, you would use 895. And there's For the real hot days, there's 898 and 8110 retarder. Sometimes you're gonna have to use that on high metallics on a real hot day. But we're gonna start spraying some clear here. So I was talking about these fisheye filters a little bit ago. We're gonna open this up and see what it caught, if it caught anything. So my air supply, I've got a 90-gallon tank. I've got 2 separate pumps. I've got a 110 pump that runs about 9 CFM, and then I've got a 220 compressor also in this series. That's about 14 CFM, and then I've got that going into an Ingersoll Rand refrigerated air dryer. From there, the air goes into a cheaper 3-stage filter off of Amazon. It was like a $300 filter, knockoff brand, and then from there I've got it into a Sharp 3-stage filter into my airline into this. So let's open this up and see if it has anything in it. It's the first time I've ever used this. I'm curious to see what it's got in it. And as you can see, it's got a couple little black specks in there. So there's a couple particulates, I would say, that would have been in my paint, gone through my gun if it wasn't for this here filter.